That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. This week I'm talking about JLA American Dreams. This is volume 2 of Grant Morrison's Justice League run. As you can see, it's also another very thin volume, which is surprising. So this is the book that I always misremember what it is. And that's partly because it's probably the most forgettable part of Grant Morrison's run. A lot of the other stuff I remember quite clearly. Like I remember the Shaggy Man, and I remember I remember of course Rock of Ages, the Injustice League. I remember all that stuff. American Dreams, I can never remember what's happening in here aside from a few random things. So let me find what is still my favorite part about this book, and I think is pretty cool. Oh, there it was. Damn it. One more page back. One more page back. Where the fuck did... There we go. Okay. Tomare lands on a dying planet. The ring has brought someone to him. And he gives the ring to Kal-El of Krypton. So even when Grant Morrison is at his most forgettable and like just what's going on in this, he blows it out of the park with shit like that. That's just too cool. So I'm gonna go through this. There are basically 3 stories contained within this, if I'm remembering correctly, because there's Woman of Tomorrow, then there's the what is it, the stuff with the angels, and then there's the stuff with the dreams, imaginary stories. Okay. Woman of Tomorrow is an interesting one-shot where the League is opening up recruitment, and a bunch of heroes that we've heard of and know of start to join or attempt to join, but the League settles on the so-called Woman of Tomorrow, who is new to the superhero community, but really she passes all their tests and does just a great job, so they immediately introduce her to the team. And it's interesting how this issue is kind of bookmarked, because it more or less begins with Superman attending Metamorpho's funeral. Metamorpho, who of course died saving the previous Justice League during the attack from HyperClan in the last volume. But then the League does its recruitment thing, and it adds Woman of Tomorrow to the team. And she has, unfortunately, a nefarious origin, wherein she's been created by 2 of the DC Universe's most evil scientists, Dr. Ivo and Dr. Morrow, who Dr. Morrow, of course, created the Red Tornado, and Red Tornado for the purposes of evil, but Tornado turned good, and Dr. Ivo, who of course created the Amazo robot. So she's been created by them as a trap to destroy the Justice League, but then when she has her opportunity to do so, she realizes something about herself, that she is fundamentally bad, that there's something very wrong with her. And she's not even programmed with the word freedom, but she still sacrifices her life to save not only the team, but people of the city. And so she is a sentient being. And throughout the entire issue, the 2 doctors have been arguing over who was the more brilliant, since they co-created her, who did the more brilliant job working on her, whose true genius was shown. And Dr. Ivo says he wins, because even though he did not program her to think freely for herself, she developed sentience on her own, making him the true creator of the most advanced artificial intelligence. I kind of dig that. That's fun. So like I'd completely forgotten about that issue. It was completely out of my head. So the next story arc's called Angels Among Us, I guess. Fire in the Sky. He has like a bunch of different titles. This is where Grant Morrison starts to get some of his weirdest shit. Where we have an angel, literally an angel, crash down to Earth because he was kicked out of heaven. And so things just start to get weird as other angels don't like him, that are planning their own coup of heaven, show up to try to kill him off because he is a threat to that. And the League stands with the expelled angel and help save the day. Yada 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 yada. There's a big fight. It's all really weird stuff. It's just the Justice League literally taking on the forces of heaven, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. I can really dig all the super mythology stuff. I know some people probably wouldn't like that, but I thought it was pretty cool. To just see all this weird crap happening. There's also a pretty cool moment for Superman. I didn't mention this, but this is the point at which Superman goes 90s electric blue Superman, which is probably in the top 10 worst costumes ever. Like, it's not like a bad idea for a superhero, it's just a bad idea for Superman, right? So anyways, Superman now has new electricity powers, and during this whole heaven on Earth thing, the moon is being pulled down to the Earth, and so Superman has to figure something out, and he generates giant magnetic fields using equipment from the Watchtower and his new electricity powers to create poles on the moon so it repels itself from the Earth and cannot be dragged to the Earth. That was pretty good. That was pretty fucking cool. I gotta dig that. Wally West is here, and he has a whole thing he does as he explains everything Superman did, which is pretty neat. He kind of explains the whole situation. I really like that. Where was that? Or is it not in this volume? No, it's got to be in this volume. Because I really liked it. It was pretty cool, one of the things he says about Superman. He's the only one with yellow dialogue balloons. You think I'd be able to find this faster. Okay. The Justice League teleport device bends space using pulsed beams of something called ambient matter. Ambient matter exists, blah, 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 blah. And later when it's all over, I ask Superman how he managed to do what he did. And I know that the moon's gravity makes him 6 times more Superman there than on Earth, but he smiles, and it's that one smile he has, the one that reminds you he's not really from here. There were larger forces at work today, Wally, he says. Go figure. So I don't know. I like that. I like that everyone kind of looks up to Superman. That was kind of cool. There's also other stuff in this that I just thought was really, really cool. Like, as they're fighting ships from heaven, Wonder Woman goes to crash through, and the angel that's on their side says, Wonder Woman, hey, remember that? She touches the ship. I was about to say, remember the touch of heaven burns all mortal flesh. Sorry. And she's just like, burns heal. Watch my back. And she goes into the ship to start fighting. That was cool as shit. I gotta love that. Grant Morrison does know how to write Wonder Woman. Kyle gets to pull a lot of cool ass shit. The Green Lantern ring's one of the few things that are working against the angels here, which makes me question what the hell Judeo-Christian God is in the DC universe at this point then. Keeping in mind the DC universe's creation begins with the sight of a hand. So I don't know. Also, I like the Flash Green Lantern team up that begins to happen as Kyle starts to use the ring in really, really cool ways. So this is a cool moment. Okay, is that bit there going to translate what I do on the treadmill into sound? So he's created... I really like the way this is designed, too. He's created a giant hamster wheel for the Flash to run in, and it's got tuning forks on the side. So the Flash is going to put all this energy into it, and the energy is going to be transmitted as sound to try to cancel out the vibrational frequency of the angels so they can't exist on Earth at that moment. That's awesome. I really like that. Grant Morrison has a lot of fun playing with the idea of what you can do with the Green Lantern ring. And, you know, Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter... Let's see, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and Aquaman are the characters Morrison hasn't done an extensive amount of work on individually. He's done Batman run, he did All-Star Superman, he did Wonder Woman Earth 1. Those are all brilliant. He did Flash back with Mark Millar in the early 2000s, or maybe it was the late 90s. He hasn't done anything extensive with Green Lantern, and he hasn't done anything extensive with Aquaman or Martian Manhunter. I really want him to do something extensive with Green Lantern because he does some cool shit. There's this other moment where they're fighting off the Angels just at first, and Kyle pulls some really cool shit with a construct that I quite like. It's like a really passive but awesome ass use of constructs, which I really like. So one of the Angels is coming at him, and Kyle puts a kind of like a, oh, I don't even know what you'd call that. Come on, Claire. Kind of like a just Iron Maiden kind of suit of armor around the guy that he can't escape. Bondage suit, maybe. And I just love this little dialogue balloon that he has. If I can imagine a cage that absorbs all the energy of his efforts to escape and converts it to sound, there. So this guy's like locked in a suit that acts as a cage, and every little struggle he does takes that kinetic energy, converts it into sound, and so the more he struggles, the more he hurts himself trying to escape because he's just blaring in his own eardrums. That's awesome. That is so cool. I love the use of that. That's really brilliant stuff, Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison knows how to write everyone, so I really want him to do some solo work on Green Lantern. But probably not meant to be, at least not for a while. So anyways, the vibrational frequency plan that Wally came up with in concert with Green Lantern comes together, and it expels the Angels, and the day is saved. But the Angel that was with them, teamed up with them, decides that he doesn't have the time to stay with the Justice League, even though they do offer him that. And then there's the Keymaster saga, and this is this is built up and set up in the Angel arc, but it's kind of its own thing. And so he has knocked out all of the Justice League and put them in machines to create realities. And I really, really like these realities that he creates because Grant Morrison has a lot of fun just creating worlds. So that's where you get the idea that Superman was going to be the Green Lantern of Krypton if he had stayed there. That's really cool. We have Aquaman kind of living on this, drowned Earth, and there's nothing left of society, and he's just like helping the remnants of humanity escape the Black Manta's tyrannical rule and survive through that. That was pretty cool. We get Tim Drake as Batman with Bruce Jr. as Robin and Selina as Mrs. Batman. That's a pretty cool little alternate reality. So the Keymaster has put all the members of the Justice League into these little mind prisons. And I love his explanation for why, and I gotta find that real quick. My psychochemicals have begun to open all of the locked doors in my head. I'm tapping the 90% of the brain we never used. That's a myth. It's bullshit. And it's given me such wonderful ideas. I've finally done it. The Justice League are mine. Their thoughts belong to the Key. And with their help, I shall open the doors onto a new universe. So that's his plan, but I like his reasoning for the plan. I gotta find that. La, 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 la. It takes me a minute. I wish I should do more stuff marking. I'm sorry, guys. But soon they'll be ready to do my work and hand me the keys to all of creation. Villains monologue a lot. Okay, so the keys got like this whole origin. He's an old Justice League villain. Alright, now here's this thing. They always win, you see. The Justice League. They always win. That was the key to it. Of course, it wasn't that simple when I started. He goes through his whole origin. The Justice League always wins, so I had to make them win for me. I had to turn my problem into a solution. I created the world's first programmable psychovirus, a kind of dream flu, which takes over the central nervous system and produces structured hallucinations. No door is closed to me now. I walk through their teleporters. I paralyze them all with a wide beam neural shock, and then, recently, I discovered negative space and I realized that what might happen if I projected myself into it. Problem number 2, my mind, unbound as it is, lacks the necessary power to crack open the negative space doorway. So I thought, why not steal energy from these super minds to boost my own? I doused them with the virus and trap them in curious little dream realities. And I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to realize they're dreaming. I'm waiting for that inevitable Justice League victory, because the accompanying psycho-electric surge will give me the means to take control of everything. I so love this idea that this villain knows the Justice League always win. So he's created a scenario where the Justice League winning and discovering the trap that they're in will give him the power he needs to do what he really wants to do. That's so, like, it's such a fucking box within a box, man. That's genius shit. I love that. That's my crack right there. And that's why Grant Morrison's one of the best writers working in comics. You know, Superman's too strong. He's too hard to write. Fuck that. I'm gonna make him stronger. Also, Superman. Best Superman story ever made. The Justice League are just too powerful. They're always gonna win when you have that many characters there. There's no point in writing them. Fuck that. I'm gonna create a villain who wants them to win. Bam. Greatest story ever. It's just part of my run. It's the most forgettable part of my run. Grant Morrison's amazing, guys. I love Grant Morrison. So it's also just really cool to see these little realities that Grant Morrison makes for these guys, because it's just such a rich, detailed world that you're just getting a snippet of. So, you know, he wrote a whole story. It feels like he has this whole Wonder Woman story planned out where she doesn't have her powers. This feels like a continuation of, like, mod-era Wonder Woman if she never got her powers back or something. But here's Wonder Woman in this bomb-ass dress kicking the shit out of a Nazi zombie with Steve Trevor there, kind of looking like Indiana Jones. Trevor, I need help here. These Nazi zombies refuse to listen to reason. I have the answer here, Diana. Look, they're afraid of the clockwise Buddhist swastika, a symbol of life. Now we can return them to the wheel of life and death with the help of our secret weapon. These Erusian maggots will devour necrotic tissue, nature's own defense against monsters like these undead Nazis. In Hera's name, what does von Gunther want? What can be worth all of this horror? This is the Temple of No, the primal she-god, Diana. It contained treasures beyond worth. No treasure can be worth so many lives. Just it's so, like, richly detailed and clever and fun, and it feels like a comic book I've read, right? It just feels so uniquely comic book. Yeah, it's Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor fighting the evil Baroness. I don't know. That's fun, and it's just all over the place like that. Kal-El as the Green Lantern of Krypton, trying to save his trying to save his version of Earth. It's just cool, man. It's just really fun, enjoyable stories. This is where Connor Hawke also gets on the Justice League because he has the luck to have teleported onto the Watchtower while the rest of the crew had been out, and he was coming in for his audition. But his arrows are immediately taken out, and so he has to use the backup original Green Arrow, original Oliver Queen arrows, the kooky trick arrows like the boxing glove arrow, to try to save the day. And so he's just sneaking around on the Watchtower trying to save everybody. Flash also gets a really interesting little dream reality where he's always the fastest man alive, but every day at exactly the same time, he's not, because everybody else picks up to light speed, and he has to keep everyone from running into each other and all the chaos. He has to save the city every day like that. It's just cool. It's just cool. Lots of fun stuff like that. Where's the panel of the Joker? Old Joker was really cool to look at. That was just a fun image. So just tons of cool shit. This is why Grant Morrison's such a good writer. He can just throw ideas away, and it's some of the most brilliant, fun things you could think to do in comics. I love it. They end up defeating the Key at the end, of course. That's not really a surprise to anyone. How they do it, Connor Hawke hitting him in the face with the boxing glove arrow is pretty cool. Just as he's about to get his ultimate reward, he just gets clunked right in the fucking face with the boxing glove arrow, and so he gets a seat at the Justice League table. That's pretty cool. I liked it. It was fun. It was solid. Batman, of course, saying that we were taken by surprise. They used a hypnotic attack. We keep falling victim to that. Solid, fun. I love this stuff. It's just good. It's just fun. It's just good, You just know when things are done well, and this is one of those things. So not a ton else to say. Howard Porter's art is still very 90s. There's just no denying that. Like, look at this. Look at Guy Gardner's Warrior. Oh, God, that's like sentient 90s-ness. And then just other stuff. It's pretty typical 90s art, which, if you like that kind of thing, it'll be fine. If you don't, I don't know, you'll get over it. You'll manage. This is just what we did. This was a thing that happened. I like the way he draws Kyle's constructs. He puts a lot of detail into Kyle's constructs, which is really fun. Like this phone booth that he uses to call Superman at the Watchtower. I think that's pretty fun. So a lot of stuff like that. Again, I also like the tuning fork device that he had Flash make, or Green Lantern, Flash had Green Lantern make. This was probably the best image in the book, as Superman used his new electricity powers to give the moon magnetic poles. I thought that was pretty cool. So, plenty of good. It's Grant Morrison. Why don't you already own it? All right, that'll do it for this episode of Trade Talk. So, thanks very much for watching, everyone. Bye.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.